didn't come here to impress you. I came here to tell you the truth about trading, about failure, and about why most people will never make it. Not because they're stupid, not because they don't know how to read a chart, but because they've never been taught discipline. Not real discipline, not the kind that burns, the kind that breaks you, rebuilds you, and changes how you see the world. When I started trading, I didn't even know what the word meant. Discipline was some military concept to me, something people talked about in books but didn't actually live. I thought trading was about strategy. I thought it was about finding the right setup, the best indicator, the perfect pair. I thought it was about precision and speed and being smarter than the person on the other side of the trade. I thought wrong. I blew my first account in 4 days. I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch because I still had the disease that infects most new traders, confidence without evidence. I thought I just needed more capital, a bigger deposit, a better broker. I blamed the spread. I blamed the fake out. I blamed the news. I blamed everything but myself. And that was the real problem, because the enemy wasn't the market. It was me. Let me say that again for the person pretending to take notes but secretly hoping for a shortcut. The enemy is you. It's not your strategy. It's not the algorithm. It's not the timing. It's you. And until you deal with that, you'll keep losing, no matter how many times you refund your account. I know this because I lived it. I spent months waking up in the middle of the night just to check if a candle broke above a resistance line I drew, with zero conviction. I'd stare at the screen like it owed me something, like I deserved to win, like effort should equal profit. But trading doesn't care how hard you work. It rewards those who follow rules. And I didn't have any. My trading plan was simple: win. That was it. No strategy, no structure, no journaling, just vibes and hope. And occasional YouTube videos from people who sounded like they knew what they were talking about. I wanted to be a trader, but I wasn't living like one. I was living like a gambler dressed in trading vocabulary. And I justified everything. This pair moves fast. I'll make it back. It's oversold. I'm sure it'll reverse. I'm risking 10% just this one time. This isn't gambling, it's calculated. I don't need a stop loss. I'll close manually. I said all of that, every single lie. And then I watched my balance drop from $800.00 to $71.00 in less than a week. And I still didn't stop because I was addicted, not to the money, but to the feeling of almost winning, of nearly being right, of staring at the chart and thinking, if this breaks the trend line, I'm back in profit. But it never did. And even when it did, I wasn't disciplined enough to exit, because discipline would have meant walking away with a win, but I didn't want to win. I wanted to be right. There's a difference. Being right strokes your ego. Being disciplined builds your future. But ego is loud, and the future feels far away when your emotions are screaming in your ears. So I blew another account. This time, it was rent money. I had lied to myself and told myself it was investment capital, but it wasn't. It was the money I was supposed to use to pay bills. I thought I could double it in a week and come out on top. I thought I was being strategic, but there's no strategy in desperation. Desperation trades are the loudest proof that you've lost control. And that's where the lesson finally began. Because I remember staring at that screen, watching the last candle close me out of the trade. I remember the balance hitting zero, and I remember the silence that followed. It wasn't angry silence. It wasn't rage. It was numb. It was a kind of emptiness I can't fully describe. It's the silence of knowing you've been lying to yourself for a very long time. It's the moment you realize you've been playing the role of a trader without actually becoming one. That moment broke me. And sometimes that's exactly what needs to happen. Because broken people either stay shattered or they rebuild. And when I finally sat down, not to look at charts, but to look at myself, I realized that I had never practiced discipline. I had only practiced desire. I was addicted to movement, not mastery. I didn't wait for confirmation. I chased entries. I entered on FOMO. I exited on fear. I violated my own logic every single time I saw a red candle. So I stopped. Not trading. I stopped lying. I told myself the truth for the first time. You're not disciplined. You're emotional. You're erratic. You're impulsive. And if you don't fix this, you will keep losing. For that truth hurt. But pain is often the greatest teacher. So I took a break, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. And during that break, I built what I now call the foundation. I started small, not with trades, with habits. I woke up at the same time every day, even on weekends. I wrote down what I felt before I looked at the charts. I stopped looking for trades. I started waiting for setups. I journaled, not just wins and losses, but why I took the trade. I printed my losing trades and taped them on my wall. I didn't do any of this for Instagram. I did it because I was tired of being the same. And slowly, things changed, not because the market got easier, it didn't, but because I became someone who could survive it. Because here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Discipline is not about control. It's about surrender. You surrender to your rules. You surrender to your plan. You surrender to patience. You surrender to the idea that waiting is a form of action, that not trading is sometimes the best trade you can take. And when you really get that, the game changes. Because now you're no longer playing for dopamine, you're playing for legacy. Because now you're no longer reacting, you're responding. There's a difference. Reacting is emotional, impulsive, rooted in fear or greed. Responding is deliberate, grounded, rooted in discipline. Discipline is what gives you power when your emotions want to take over. And I'll tell you something strange. Once I started living that way, my life outside trading changed too. I didn't just become more consistent in my trades. I became more consistent in my habit. I didn't just start showing up for the market. I started showing up for myself. That's when I understood that trading is just a mirror. It reflects back who you are. If you're patient, it rewards you. If you're impulsive, it exposes you. If you're disciplined, it becomes your ally. But if you're not, it becomes your punishment. Every blown account I had wasn't a failure. It was a lesson I refused to learn the first time. But you don't get better by reading the lesson. You get better when you live it. And I had lived it. Now, my trades got smaller, but more intentional. My wins were boring, but consistent. My losses didn't hurt. They made sense. I stopped trying to make $500 0 cents a day. I started aiming for 1% a week. And suddenly, my equity curve didn't look like a roller coaster. It looked like a staircase, slow, steady, strong. And the funny thing is, the discipline that felt restrictive at first, like a cage, eventually became my freedom. Because when you have rules, you don't need to second guess yourself. When you have a system, you don't chase trades. When you know your plan, you stop trying to force the market to behave. You just wait. And waiting, I learned, is one of the hardest things to do in this business because everyone is moving, everyone is posting, everyone is making money. At least it looks that way. But discipline doesn't care what everyone else is doing, it only cares what you do next. One trade, one setup, one decision. That's the game. Not 10 pairs, not 5 strategies, not 6 indicators on a chart. Just one clean setup, one clean mind, one clean execution. And I promise you, when you learn to love that kind of simplicity, the noise dies down, the pressure lifts, the game becomes quiet, and in that quiet you find yourself. Because Real trading isn't loud, it's silent. It's sitting alone in a room, doing nothing until your moment comes, and then taking it with precision. That's what discipline gave me, and that's why I stopped losing money in Forex, not because I found some secret strategy, but because I stopped lying to myself. I stopped blaming the market, I stopped chasing, and I started showing up every single day like the trader I said I wanted to be. You want to know why you're losing money in Forex? It's not because you're unlucky. It's not because the broker is hunting your stop. It's not because you need more capital. You're losing money in Forex because you haven't built discipline yet, but you can. And if you do, everything changes, not just in your trading, in your life. And when that happens, you won't just win trades, you'll win peace, you'll win power, you'll win your future. Now go build it. You see, most people never make it in Forex because they treat the market like a machine that owes them something. But the market doesn't owe you a damn thing. It doesn't care about your rent. It doesn't care that you were up 3 trades in a row. It doesn't care that your mentor said this week is bullish, the market is neutral, but your mind isn't. And until you train your mind to match the calm of the market, it will eat you alive again and again. Discipline is the only thing that puts you in sync with something as emotionless as the Forex market. Without it, you're just another impulsive participant reacting to price, not responding to probability. Every time I lost money, I wanted to believe it was bad luck. But when I finally sat down and reviewed my own trades, really reviewed them, not with ego, but with honesty, I saw the truth. I wasn't losing because of the strategy. I was losing because I broke my own rules. I moved stop losses. I took trades too early. I chased moves that were already over. I didn't journal. I didn't even wait for confirmations. I was trying to make market fit my timeline, not the other way around. But you can't rush greatness. You can't microwave consistency. And you definitely can't shortcut discipline. That's the hardest thing to accept for most new traders. Because we've been sold this dream, $100, 0 cents to $10,000, 0 cents in a month, a flashy car, an empty caption, just another day in the market. That's the trap. That's the bait. But behind that bait is a hook. And most people bite before they know how to unhook themselves. But I'm not most people anymore. And if you're still listening, you're not either. Because somewhere deep inside, you know this isn't about the money. You're here for something else. You're here for change. You're here because the version of you that keeps blowing accounts is not who you want to be anymore. And maybe, just maybe, you're ready to do what I did. Not deposit more money, not switch strategies, but finally stop lying to yourself. That's where discipline begins, not with rules, not with trading plans, not with stop loss levels or risk percentages. It begins with truth, because discipline without truth is a mask. You can act disciplined for a week, maybe 2. You can show people your notebook, your color-coded plans, your vision board. But if it's not real, if you don't mean it, you'll crack the moment a trade goes against you. Real discipline doesn't show up in your wins. It shows up in your losses. Anyone can follow rules when they're up. But what do you do when you're down 3 trades in a row and self-doubt is screaming in your head? That's when the truth shows up. I remember the first time I stuck to my rules after a losing streak. 3 red trades in a row, I wanted to enter again. I wanted to revenge trade. I even saw a decent setup and it was calling my name. But I had written down, no 4th trade after 3 consecutive losses. Walk away, let the edge reset. So I walked. I didn't feel powerful. I didn't feel smart. I felt weak, shaky, unsure, like I was walking away from an opportunity. But then I checked the chart the next day, and that trade that it failed badly. It would have been my biggest loss that week. And that was the day I realized discipline doesn't always feel good in the moment, but it always saves you in the long run. That's when things started to shift. I stopped chasing highs. I stopped panicking over drawdowns. I stopped thinking about one trade and started thinking about the next 1,000. Because discipline isn't about being perfect, it's about being consistent over time. Every professional trader I met later in life told me the same thing. They don't care about today, they care about a year from now, 100 trades from now, 1,000 trades from now. Because when you have discipline, you're not afraid of time. You use it, you let the law of large numbers do the heavy lifting. And your job, your only job, is to show up every day like a machine. Same rules, same setup, same mindset, even when it hurts, even when you're tempted, even when you think you're smarter than your own system, because the moment you think you're above the rules is the moment you're about to give it all back. I've done it. I've been there. I've turned $1,000 0 cents into $3,500 0 cents. Why? Because I thought I had leveled up, because I thought I had mastered it. But discipline doesn't care how much you've made, it only cares how well you follow through. Every time I lost big, it wasn't because the market beat me, it was because I beat myself. And that's what I need you to understand. If you don't master discipline, you will keep losing money in Forex, not because of bad luck, not because of a bad broker, because of you. And I'm not saying that to insult you, I'm saying it to free you. Because once you realize you're the problem, you also realize you're the solution. And that's powerful. That's when you stop looking for saviors. You stop hunting for the best mentor or the most accurate signal group. You stop blaming and start building. You build your plan, your rules, your risk model, your psychology, and then